And welcome to the Lancaster County Board of Commissioners meeting. We do appreciate your attendance, and for the viewers, thank you so very much for tuning in. For introductions, on my left is Commissioner Larry Hudkins, and on my right is Vice Chair and Commissioner Todd Wilchin, and I am Commissioner Roma Amundson, Chair of the Board. And assisting us this morning, we have Ryan Sworoff of the County Attorney's Office, and we have, oh, for heaven's sakes, Carrie.
Ann Taylor.
Yeah, Ann Taylor, my goodness, yeah. Ann Taylor and Dan Nolte of the County Clerk's Office and Carrie Egan of the County Administrative Office. I'm sorry, Ann. I had my senior moment. So will you join me now in saying the Pledge of Allegiance? Allegiance to
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, and thank you for joining in. Okay, and Mr. Clerk, will you begin the agenda, please?
Copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located on the wall at the rear of the hearing room. Additionally, a copy of all written material to be discussed at today's open meeting is available from the county clerk staff. The material can also be viewed on the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. Agenda item 1 are minutes. Approval of the minutes of the joint meeting with the Lancaster County Agricultural Society held on Thursday, November 17th, 2016.
I move approval.
Second.
It's moved and seconded that we approve the minutes of the joint meeting with the Lancaster County Agricultural Society. Any discussion, any corrections? Please call the roll.
Hudkins?
Yes.
Shore?
Abstain.
Wilchin?
Yes.
Amundson?
Yes.
Motion carries 3 yes, 1 abstain. Approval of the minutes of the Board of Commissioners meeting held on Tuesday, November 22nd, 2016.
Move approval.
Second.
It's moved and seconded that we approve the minutes of last week's Board of Commissioners meeting. Any corrections? Please call the roll.
Hudkins?
Yes.
Shore?
Yes.
Wilchin?
Yes.
Amundson?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Number 2 are claims. Approval of all claims processed through November 29th, 2016.
Move approval of claims.
Second.
It's moved and seconded that we approve all claims processed through November 29th. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore?
Yes.
Wilchin?
Yes.
Hudkins?
Yes.
Amundson?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Number 3 is a public hearing, County Text Amendment number 16012 to the Lancaster County Zoning Resolution to add maximum area standards to residential accessory building regulations.
Mm-hmm.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. Tom Chaka, planning staff. This application before you is for a text change to the county zoning ordinance to establish maximum area standards for accessory buildings. Currently, the zoning code does not define the amount of accessory buildings you can have on your property. It's basically established based on the definition of an accessory building, which says an accessory building is subordinate to the main building. This definition kind of leaves it open to interpretation of how large of an accessory building you can have based on the main building, which Building and Safety has kind of used a policy that hasn't really been established, but they've used it for several years. This is to actually put in writing how much you can have. Recently, the city zoning code was amended to add these standards to it. The planning staff had worked with a advisory group before establishing those city standards, and a few of the just to name a few people on the working group, there was a representative from the Home Builders Administration. There was also a representative from LIBA, and another one was the board president of the Home Builders Association. So they had a wide range of interest on the group. What's before you, the standards are are basically the same as what the city adopted. And just to remind you, the city ordinance goes 3 miles beyond the city limit, so it does take in agricultural areas also. Just to give you an example, on the tables that are on the 4th and 5th page, this would be under the AGR table, and you would go to the, in this case, the third column, 2 acres to less than 4 acres. You can have 2,000 square feet of accessory buildings, within the 2 feet of the lot line where accessory buildings are allowed. Or you could go up to 8,000 square feet if no more than 2,000 square feet are within the setbacks. So if you keep most of your accessory buildings out of the setbacks, you can have much larger amount of accessory buildings. And these standards would only apply to single-family dwellings and attached single-family or duplex dwellings. It doesn't apply to commercial or industrial. Also, if you have either in AGR or AG zoning districts, if you have 10 acres or more, there's no limit to how much accessory buildings you can have. So it's basically limiting in more of the R districts, which you don't have a lot of R district in the county. There is some R districts in the unincorporated villages. And then for AGR areas and smaller ag lots, more of your cluster development type areas. Have any questions?
Larry?
Well, I want to compliment the planning department for getting a broad-based committee to take a look at this, and so that there is orderly development. But I am glad that you clarified that on a bona fide farm, even though the farmstead may be split off for insurance and for financial reasons, they can have machine sheds to, store their machinery and stuff, which would be larger than the 8,000 square feet. So I'm glad you clarified that.
Yes.
You mentioned a couple that these new text amendments would affect the unincorporated villages, and there's a couple R districts there.
Correct.
Will existing buildings be grandfathered in?
Yes.
Okay, any further comments? All right, thank you. Well, this was a public hearing, and so I guess I will close it. And let's move on to the correlating item.
Under new business 4A, a resolution in a matter of county tax amendment number 16012 to the Lancaster County zoning resolution to add maximum area standards to residential accessory building regulations.
Move approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve this resolution to the county text amendment. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. B is a review of claim filed by the Lancaster County Community Corrections Department to Parallels in amount of $175. The claim is beyond the 90-day period under Nebraska Revised Statute 23-135, bracket 1.
Good morning. Kim Etherton, Director of Department of Community Corrections. We invited a representative from Parallels to come today, but I don't see anyone from Parallels here. So I'm going to tell you what I know, and we'll move forward with that. We did take a look at the payments that have been made to Parallels through 2013 through 2016. There have been 51 payments made to them, and 5 of those payments have been beyond the 90 days. So there's a pattern. I do know that they've had some change in staff at that organization, but again, I can't speak to the details of that. I'm not certain what those changes are. So Other than that, I have Landon Parks with me. He's the coordinator of drug court if you have any questions about that. Otherwise, I'm not
Commissioner-
quite certain what
Commissioner
more to
Hudkins?
tell you.
Was the work completed to your satisfaction?
It was, yes.
And so it's been completed, we received the services. Are you are recommending payment?
I recommend payment. I do know that we've had discussions with them recently about being more prompt in their payments. They do have a new person taking over that role, so we're hopeful that that helps.
Based on the recommendation of the Director of Community Corrections, I move approval.
Second?
It's moved and seconded that we approve this claim to Parallels. Is there any discussion?
Well, it is a little discouraging that you asked them to be here to talk with us, and they aren't. I know if this comes up again, she says about 10% of the time, that I will be voting no should we see another example of where they're not only beyond 90 days, beyond 125 days in
This was-
submitting their
I
building.
would say this was probably, this was an I don't know that I've seen one this late in the past, so.
Is this something that we could communicate to them, that this will be the last time?
Absolutely,
Okay,
That'd be
for
good.
sure.
yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, please call the roll.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. C is approval of Lancaster County Weed Control Superintendent class description effective November 29th, 2016.
Move approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the County Weed Control Superintendent class description. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. D is a recommendation from the Purchasing Department and the Sheriff's Office to award a purchase order for 6 2017 Ford Police Utility mid-sized vehicles and accessories to Anderson Ford Lincoln Mercury Mazda using State of Nebraska Contract 14611OC. The total amount is $177,234.
Move approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the purchase of these 6 Ford Police Utility mid-sized vehicles. Any discussion?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I'd like to have one of the representatives from the Sheriff's Office come and
Perhaps you can discuss E also
right.
at the same time.
I'd just like to have you tell us a little bit. For years and years, we had the Ford Crown Victorias, and they were a staple. I mean, they stood together, and we got a lot of mileage out of them. I understand they're no longer available, and so you've gone to this vehicle now?
Yes, and good morning. My name is Todd Duncan. I'm with the Sheriff's Office. And yes, Commissioner Hudkins, we used the Crown Victoria for many years. We are somewhat dictated by the manufacturer as to what vehicle they release as their police vehicle or law enforcement vehicle. So recently, in the last few years, Ford has transitioned from the Crown Victoria to what they call the Police Interceptor series, and it comes in 2 models. One is an SUV, which is what we tend to rely on because of the all-wheel drive feature, and we're out in the rural areas. And the other vehicle they offer is the Ford Interceptor sedan, which is similar to a Taurus. So we have very limited options in what is considered a police-rated vehicle. They have special features made just for law enforcement, safety features, and this is the one we choose.
Do you have any of these vehicles or very similar ones in the force right now? I think you have some, don't you? And how are they holding up?
We do have several, and they've been outstanding. As a matter of fact, Captain Brookhauser, who manages our fleet, just put out an email soliciting feedback prior to this order to the deputies that operate the new Ford Interceptor SUVs, and we got nothing but really good feedback. So we're comfortable this is a very good vehicle for us and the purpose that we use it, and we appreciate the board's support in replacing our vehicles so that we can keep them safe and functional.
Well, thank you, and thanks for doing the research on it.
And any further questions? Okay, need a motion?
We've got a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. Please call the roll.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. E is a recommendation from the Purchasing Department and the Sheriff's Office to award a purchase order for 1 2017 four-door sedan Chevrolet Impala and accessories to Sid Dillon Chevrolet Buick using state of Nebraska contract 14632OC. The total amount is $21,340.
Move approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve this purchase of the 2017 four-door sedan. Would you want to discuss this vehicle somewhat, or
Yes.
how you're using it and so forth?
Yes, so this is one of our unmarked cars in our fleet. This was, like the Interceptors we just discussed, a planned replacement within our budget
Okay.
for 16 and 17. So this new vehicle will go to the sheriff, and then his vehicle will be rotated down the line. And we try to do that just to keep vehicles in service. We try to extend the life as long as we can. So we have a Ford Impala at the far end of our fleet Chevy Impala, that's reached its life limit, and that'll be retired, and then all the cars will shift down.
Okay, well, thank you for that explanation. And Larry?
And if it's an indication of past practice, some other agency will want that car yet. So we really appreciate the job of the care that you give your cars, the maintenance records, and then being willing to pass them down to other departments when you're done with them.
We get great support. I should throw this out from the county shop. They do a fantastic job with preventative maintenance, keeping our cars serviced and on the road as much as possible. So I appreciate the county engineer's office for doing that.
Okay, well, I'm sure that Pam appreciates that. Okay, well, please call the roll.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Hudkins.
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. 4F is an interlocal agreement with the Village of Bennett for law enforcement services within the village limits. The Lancaster County Sheriff will assign one or more deputies to duty in the village limits and provide a cruiser or cruisers. The village will reimburse the county at the average overtime rate based on the deputy sheriff's pay plan as detailed in the agreement between Lancaster County, Nebraska, and the Lancaster County Deputy Sheriff's Association Fraternal Order of Police Lodge 29. Term of the agreement is September 1st, 2016 through August 31st, 2017.
So this is an agreement that's been in place for many years. This is just a renewal of the annual contract. I would point out there's been one modification that was made at the recommendation of the county attorney's office, and that's regarding the pay scale that we base our rate on. And previously, it had referred to a specific salary contract under the FOP contract at that time. And the problem was that every time that contract changed every 3 years, we had to go in and amend this agreement. So with the help of Deputy County Attorney Durbin, we have retooled the language to just refer to the current FOP contract pay scale that's in place. So it updates automatically as the pay scales update.
That was a good change. Okay, thank you.
Move approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve this interlocal agreement with the Village of Bennett. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Hudkins.
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Okay, thank you.
G is a letter to Black Hills Energy requesting release of monthly billing and usage data for county properties to facilitate an energy audit.
Move approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve this letter. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Hudkins.
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. H is an electronic permitting agent agreement between the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission and Lancaster County on behalf of the Lancaster County Treasurer's Office. The agreement allows the Treasurer's Office to issue hunting, fishing, park permits, and stamps for the commission. The Treasurer's Office will receive issuing fees as set forth in the agreement.
Okay, well, this was something new that you had brought up a week or two ago.
I
You
did.
want to just review it for the purpose of the public?
Yes, thank you. Andy Stebbing, County Treasurer, Candace Meredith, Chief Deputy. You're correct, Madam Chair. At the direction of the board and Carrie Egan, the County Attorney's Office, we revisited an agreement, which I think is before you, and we would respectfully ask you to approve this. Basically, the County Treasurer's Office will become a vendor able to sell, if you approve this, hunting licenses, park permits, fishing permits, anything that they sell, we can then sell for them. We would receive a fee, oftentimes $2 per transaction. It's not only good for us, it's good for them, it's good for the public. Oftentimes we have people renewing their license plates on a pickup truck, putting stickers on their boats, and they could then also buy the park permit for Branch Oak Lake and a fishing license for their son. So it's difficult to gauge how much revenue we would receive. there are they like to have about one vendor per 1,000 people. So a town of 10,000 people would have 10 vendors. Well, Lincoln is far short. That's why they're excited about this, and so are we. They have about 13 vendors. Lincoln has 13 vendors. So this will add 3 locations, 3 offices. We're ready to go. They're ready to train us with your approval tomorrow. We would, sorry.
They really kind of want you on board.
Getting down to the wire.
And I appreciate your direction a couple weeks ago to go back and clean up some language and stuff. So we're excited if you approve it. We would be online by December 1st. And we can handle this easily. As you know, the lines are gone. We have plenty of staff. Things are going smooth, and we're ready to move forward if you can. And I'll keep you updated, certainly, on the revenue and how this is. I think it would unfold nicely, more of revenue each year as word leaks out.
Yeah, Deb?
And you are the first county in Nebraska to do this, correct?
You're right, Commissioner Short, you're right. There's 93 counties. 10 counties, approximately 10, have county clerks doing it. We will be the first county treasurer ever in Nebraska. So we're excited about that. I think others would follow suit. And we talked once before, this idea is not my own or my staff. This one came from the public. This came from Kelly Johnson, a lady that I know here in Lincoln, and she suggested it. And so it worked out really well. And yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Larry?
Well, it might not have been your idea, but you took it and ran with it, and you and Candace both. And I want to compliment you on that, because whenever we can make it more efficient for the taxpayer, and you answered the question that I had written down here, will I be able to get it out at the West O branch? So all 3 of your branches will be able to issue it. And we're there writing out checks, and it's just like you said, while it's on your mind, you're getting your permits, and we in rural Lancaster County are going to appreciate this service too. So thank you for looking how you can be more efficient and more user-friendly, both of you. This is a good idea. Very few departments ever want to take on more work, and here you're willing to do it and doing it willingly. And so this is what good government's all about. So thank you both for being willing to bring this forth. And with that, I'll move approval.
Thank you.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve this electronic permitting agent agreement. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. 4I is a grant contract with Fresh Start in the amount of $10,000 for Fresh Start's transitional shelter program for homeless women. Term of the contract is July 1st, 2016 through June 30th, 2017.
Good morning, Sarah
morning.
Hoyle, Human Services Director. This contract is funding through the Joint Budget Committee. This allows for homeless women in Lincoln and the surrounding community to receive shelter in a community-based treatment. It's set up similar to a house, and so women can receive case management services there, as well as housing services. They also provide a transitional period for up to 2 years for women as they exit out of the facility and maintain stability in the community. So they provide that follow-up case management and support services to these women.
Move approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the grant contract with Fresh Start. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. J is an amendment to grant contract C-15-471 with the Indian Center, Inc. for the Indian Center Four Directions Youth Program. The amendment extends the term of the agreement through September 30th, 2016.
And this funding is federal funding. It's Title II funding that's funneled through the Crime Commission, and then we receive the funding from the Crime Commission. This extension is for the Youth Four Directions program. This is a program, an after-school program, primarily for Native youth, but it's open to all youth who are interested in attending. The Indian Center has asked for an extension to spend down all of their funding, and we have also requested more information and evaluation purposes on the program. So that's the reason for the extension.
I do have a question, though. This was an extension, September 30th, 2016?
Yes.
That's already passed.
Yes. So there's.
We have another contract in place to another group.
This is the end of that funding. The Indian Center chose to work directly through the Crime Commission and not go through the county for the second round. So we needed to extend to spend down all the money from the first round before they started with their new funding cycle with the Crime Commission. So
Based on the recommendation of the purchasing agent and Sarah, I would move approval.
Second.
It's moved and seconded that we approve this amendment to the grant contract with the Indian Center. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. K is an amendment to County Contract C-16-31 with Audio Marketing Solutions, Inc., doing business as Americom Communications Corporation, using the Lincoln Public Schools contract number IPDG number 2013-3932 for electronic video surveillance equipment and installation. The amendment renews the contract from December 1st, 2016 through November 30th, 2017. The estimated cost of the county is not to exceed $5,000.
Move approval?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve this amendment to the county contract. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Hudkins?
Yes.
Shore?
Yes.
Wilchin?
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Number 5 are consent items. Receive and place on file the Clerk of the District Court report for October 2016.
I move approval of the consent items.
Second?
Been moved and seconded that we approve the consent items. Please call the roll.
Shore?
Yes.
Wilchin?
Yes.
Hudkins?
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Number 6 is public comment. Those wishing to speak on items relating to county business non-agenda may do so at this time.
Todd?
Madam Chair, I would move that we add an emergency item to the agenda. I understand the timing of a clear and present danger, which prevents the board from amending the agenda within 24 hours, but I believe that we should add an item involving 148th Street.
I will second that emergency item.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we add this emergency item. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Wilchin?
Yes.
Hudkins?
Yes.
Avery? Shore?
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Okay.
Pam Dingman, Lancaster County Engineer. This morning I would like to talk to you about structure J143. And I'd like to draw your attention to the map. There we go. There's several green triangles on the map on 148th Street. A green triangle signifies a bridge that is less than 20 feet. So by state definition, it is not considered a bridge. It is not included in the bridge inventory. Recently, my office received a request for an overload permit that was a substantial overload, and we needed to make some calculations for 148th Street to verify that our structures could hold this load. Upon looking at the structures on 148th Street, we discovered that these 3 structures, 2 of which were built in the late 1920s, 1 of which was built in 1938, all had substantial amounts of fill placed on them. In fact, their rails were cut off and they were buried with 3 to 4 feet of fill, and then asphalt overlay. And they were extended in addition to that. So these small bridges had box culverts just stuck on the ends of them in the 1968. We hired a consultant, JEO, to do an analysis of the maximum load that, in particular, the 1938 I-beam structure would take. Yesterday afternoon, I became aware that the results of JEO's analysis were that the bridge actually theoretically should fail under the dead load of the soil placed on top of it alone. That being said, I immediately contacted the Department of Roads, and in coordination with the University of Nebraska-Lincoln Civil Engineering Department, we began to implement a plan for these structures. So I am currently coordinating with Department of Roads and UNL. This morning we had a conference call to try to figure out what to do with this bridge. It's an interesting theory because theoretically I have to close this section of road. I have to close this road. The calculations say there's no reason for this to be standing, except for it stood since 1968. So that being said, I've made arrangements with the University of Nebraska and Department of Roads to have this bridge load tested. So what we'll do is we'll go out and put strain gauges on this bridge and run weighted trucks over the bridge to see what the deflection in the bridge is in order to weight rate this road so that we can open it hopefully to some level of traffic. We know that there is deflection between the added box culverts and the 1938 bridge. This is literally a buried problem that we discovered last week. So I'm recommending that this section of road be closed immediately. I have talked to Waverly School District, and my office is also in contact with Rural Fire. In addition to that, we have prepared a detour plan for this area. We have closed this section of road before to repair culverts and detoured back to 84th Street. These detours are being put in place as we speak, and we have also issued a press release to notify the public. In addition, I would like to refer the public to the map that we have on our main website under street closures. If you look at the Lancaster County website, which will bring up the Google map, which will show your detours. This closing is substantial, and I'm aware of the magnitude of it. Our 2009 traffic counts indicated that there were 4,329 cars on this
Yeah,
mile.
it's huge.
Very popular
Yeah,
road.
it's huge.
I do have a few pictures of this intriguing structure. The top picture here you can see looks like a box culvert. You can actually see the cracking in the structure at the transition points. And in addition to that, then you can see where this structure has been hit by a motor vehicle in the past. And then you can also see on the bottom the I-beams, which our structural engineer refers to as baby I-beams. And Department of Roads structural engineers this morning referred to them as I-beams that shouldn't be weight-bearing. So that is the reason I am recommending closure at this time. We will load test this structure, and I will report back to this board on the action that needs to be taken.
Okay, all right. Deb?
Two questions. When you opened, you mentioned 3 bridges, but it's just this one that you're closing, even though the other 2 are similar in design?
So the other 2, what has been done to them is similar. However, the other 2 structures are a late 1920s structure, and they're slab concrete structures. And so we believe that they can act more as a box culvert. We believe that this is the bridge that will govern. In other words, it's the weakest point. So once we have the testing done on this structure, we will weight rate that entire corridor of 148th Street per whatever this structure tells us.
Okay, and then in non-engineering terms, several times you use the word diffraction or deflection or
Deflection.
deflection with regard to the bridge. Can you explain exactly what that means?
I can maybe try to show with a piece of paper. Okay, so if I have, theoretically, this paper is a bridge, deflection would be the points at which the bridge moves. And so
Okay.
we do know that we have some deflection at the point at which the box culvert is attached to the bridge.
Okay, now I understand. Thank you.
Unfortunately, the other thing we have going for us here is that we don't have any plans for how these bridges were constructed or if there's reinforcement in the slab or how they were attached. To us, it just looks like box culverts were not technically dialed in, so we don't really have a structure that's behaving uniformly. There's a lot of complexities to this. We're fortunate that there is a professor and a grad student doing research on these types of structures for Department of Roads, and they've been looking at a number of what I might call intriguing county structural problems. And so we're really lucky that this professor and her grad student are going to come out and look at this bridge actually tomorrow afternoon. and then we hope to begin load testing it Friday or Monday.
Okay.
It's a good field study for them. Todd?
My question is, as far as I know you kind of alluded to the fact that, you'll come back with the plan, but what time frame are we looking at? I mean, if they're coming out, we close it today, they're coming out on Thursday or Friday, when will we have answers? And, I mean, how long should the residents expect the road closure?
I don't necessarily know the answer to that question prior to them doing the testing on the bridge. I'm hoping that we'll have some sort of answer mid-December or January 1st. We're at a difficult time for the university as they're getting ready to wrap up their semester here in the next couple weeks. So we're hoping that we'll have some sort of answer sooner rather than later. However, that answer really isn't the answer. That answer will be a weight-rated status for 148th Street, which is really vitally important to the economics of our county. That is a major, major corridor. It acts somewhat like, it is our East Beltway now. It is our East Beltway now. So with that being said, what we're gonna have to do is look at a emergency design to replace all three of these structures with something much more sound.
Todd?
So just to clarify, somebody had requested a weight rating because they were looking at transporting some heavy equipment over these roads.
An overload permit, yes.
So heavy, and so they went out and the county engineer's office went out and consulted with the engineering firm to, I guess, study the bridges and determine that they were, not only could they not withstand the heavy load, they can't even withstand the weight of their own structure.
That's correct.
Okay. Any further questions? And I guess we need to have action on it.
Based upon the recommendation of the county engineer, I move we temporarily close J 143.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we close J 143 based on the recommendation of the engineer. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Okay. Oh,
Okay, next are announcements. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold a staff meeting on Thursday, December 1st, 2016, at 8:30 a.m. in the Bill Luxford Studio of the County City Building. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold a meeting on Friday, December 2nd, 2016, at 1 p.m. at the Lincoln Lancaster County Health Department, lower level, to discuss Corrections Director finalist. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold their next regular meeting on Tuesday, December 6, 2016, at 9 a.m. in Room 112 of the County City Building, with the Board of Equalization immediately following. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold a joint public hearing with the Lincoln City Council regarding updates to the 2040 Comprehensive Plan on Monday, December 12, 2016, at 1 p.m. in Room 112 of the County City Building. County Commissioners can be reached at 402-441-7447 or commish@lancaster.ne.gov. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners meeting is broadcast live. It is rebroadcast on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays on 5 City TV, Cable Channel 5. In addition, the meeting may be viewed on the internet at lancaster.ne.gov under 5 City TV, Video on Demand, or 5 City TV on YouTube.
Move we adjourn.
Second.
it's been moved and seconded that we adjourn. Please call the roll.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Okay, Board of Commissioners meeting is adjourned, and let's move on to the Board of Equalization.
A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located on the wall of the rear of the hearing room. Additionally, a copy of relevant material to be discussed at today's open meeting is available from the county clerk's staff. The material can also be viewed on the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. Agenda item are minutes. Approval of the minutes of the Board of Equalization meeting held on Tuesday, November 22nd, 2016.
Move approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the minutes of last week's meeting. Any corrections? Please call the roll.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Number 2 are additions and deductions to the tax assessment rolls.
Move approval of the additions and deductions.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the additions and deductions to the tax assessment rolls. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Number 3 is a public hearing. This is for motor vehicle tax exemption applications. And these include Cedars Youth Services, Christ Lutheran Church, Lincoln Cats Youth Group, Nebraska Crop Improvement Association, Pius X High School, Resources for Human Development, and St. Paul United Methodist Church.
Okay, we'll open the public hearing. And seeing no one come forward for support, opposition, or neutral positions, I will close the public hearing. And let's move to 4.
Next is action on motor vehicle tax exemption applications.
I move approval of the motor vehicle tax exemption application.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve these. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Hudkins.
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Number 5 is public comment. Those wishing to speak on items relating to County Board of Equalization business not on agenda may do so at this time.
I move we adjourn.
Second?
Moved and seconded that we adjourn. Please call the roll.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Hudkins.
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Okay, Board of Equalization is closed. Meeting is closed.